Your friend group is not the planet. I'm Daniel Whittington, Chancellor of Wizard Academy and Whiskey Marketing School. This is a gift, and to remind myself, it's from Greg Holloway. Okay. There's a conversation. Ooh-wee, hang on, that one caught me. That's pungent. Funky. Okay. There's a conversation that I hear regularly at Wizard Academy and as a consultant for the Wizard of Ads partner group. And it mostly comes up in conversations about how to advertise or how to use media or whether or not you should be on social media, what your website should look like, or, should we use billboards or radio? But I think it's actually bigger than that. And it's this sentence that you'll hear from somebody, and it's some version of, well, me and my friends don't do that, so I don't think that anybody does that anymore. For example, well, none of my friends listen to radio. I think radio is a dead media. Or none of my friends drink scotch, so I think scotch is, not as important as bourbon and American whiskey. Everyone I know is into this. It's obviously where the world is headed. Both of those statements have a quiet assumption, and it's a false assumption, and that is that my circle of representation is reality. But it isn't. Roy Williams calls this the me and my friends fallacy, and we talk about it in class all the time. Well, me and my friends. No. Look at the data. Coming back to radio, there are countless reports, I can show you links to them, that still show radio, of all things, terrestrial radio is by far, on the numbers, one of the top 2, top 3 most effective ways to market a large brand. Full stop. Now I hear you. I don't listen to radio. I've got Spotify. I've got Bruce. I know, but that's not what the numbers say. That's not what the numbers say. Humans evolved in small tribes, right? So if you were a small tribe of 100 people, then your worldview was the world, and you could be fairly certain this is how the world worked, right up until you ran into another tribe. But this is also how human brains work, because then we get to the point where we have like the Roman Empire, or the Mongolian Empire, and at a certain point you have multiple quotes from these people saying like, this is how the world works. But even when they were talking about the world, Rome owned the world, or England controlled the world, they were still only talking about like 50% or way less percent of the actual terrestrial Earth on planet. When you look at the Roman Empire, it represents a very small percentage of where humans live, function, and work now. Was also kind of true then. But at the time, it just felt like the world. See where I'm going with this? Today, your tribe is not some random group of villagers. Your tribe is a heavily curated selection of interactions, both in person and online. It's very filtered. You're inside layers and layers of exceptions. Some you chose, and some chosen for you without you realizing it. The friends around you likely resemble you. So does your feed. Over time, I believe this thing, and this thing is real, and this thing is true, starts to feel like a universal truth that anyone who doesn't agree with it must be insane. But it's not a universal truth. Let's drink some whiskey. GlenAllachie, this is a gift. Greg Holloway dropped it off during one of our classes. I like GlenAllachie. We've done GlenAllachie before. This is Billy Walker's brand that he bought with a couple of other people, the GlenAllachie brand. Still independent, if I remember correctly. And I think they're coming in, they're being imported through some other friends of ours. This is the Cuvée Cask, and it's 9 years old. It looks like it's not a single barrel. 48%, blended by Billy Walker, of course. And it's a mix of French and Italian red wines, or wine cask, barriques. And it smells, I was trying to stumble onto the word in the background of my head, but it's got this like tangy, funky, pungent, it's definitely dark fruit and heavy berries and spicy, almost zesty or not ginger. It's orange. I don't know. It's got a spritzy kind of like woo zing, maybe citrusy, but it's also got like a darkness to it, like a dark candy or like a dark chocolate liqueur of some kind. There's an almost coffee note in there, like straight up black coffee. Oh, that's what it is. There is a tanginess that comes that in coffee, if you've ever had that like super craft coffee, and it's always really tangy at the end, has this kind of, not sour, but it's in the direction of sour, but it's tangy. Turns out what that is high acidity. That's your mouth reacting to high acidity. There is high acidity in the nose of this. And it's got that sort of like custom or boutique coffee, high acidity. Oh, the palate's nice. It's a little simpler than I would like, but it's soft. It's got all the fruits. It's got that slight tangy high acidity. It's got a little bit of the oak, but it's really gentle. I want it to be creamier than it is. I wonder if that's my palate. Okay. Second sip, it's starting to coat things a little bit better. But it is more like a baking dry chocolate, like a high percentage bitter chocolate. Or cacao, like high percent cacao, 70%, 60%, 80%. Man, some of those dark chocolate, those will take you down. They're almost not even candy. Anyway, it's nice. I like it. Okay. When you are surrounded by only things that have been curated for you or you've curated and it's all the same echo chamber, psychologists call this a availability heuristic. And what that means is if something is very easy for you to recall, know, believe, or have your hands on it, then you sort of assume that it's common in the world, not just to you. Well, of course, everybody knows. And you make inside references to it, assuming everyone knows what you're talking about. If everyone at your dinner table, your school, your startup, your business, your bar hangouts, your whiskey club, if you all have the same opinions, very quickly you start to believe psychologically these are the standard and everything else is a deviation. We mistake proximity for prevalence. And there's some predictable errors. We misjudge people, culture, we misjudge the future of trends and business. We assume a general consensus and it turns out there's not one. Whiskey drinkers fell into this in a huge way when they were caught off guard by people being like really into RTDs. And a whole bunch of the bottom consumers of like budget whiskey, like the Crown Royals and your Jack and Coke, switched to White Claw and, RTD drinks and were fine with it. Turns out they just wanted something that tasted good. Shocker. Entrepreneurs, really vulnerable to this. Whiskey nerds, even more vulnerable. Entrepreneur whiskey nerds, oh crap. The habits of your friend group do not nullify the numbers of what's actually happening in the world. Your social bubble is not a consensus. So before declaring what everyone thinks about something, maybe do your homework. Read some studies. Look into what the real world is actually doing. What do the numbers actually say? Reality is bigger than your tribe. And it would help if you admit it, because that's the first part into changing, is admitting your failures. What a great way to end. The world's bigger than you think. Cheers to you. Hello, Whiskey Vultures. It's dry week. This is where we take a break. And that means next week, no whiskey videos on this channel. I might try to come up with some random shorts to walk around and keep you guys amused, but there won't be any whiskey review episodes. This is a week where we take a break from alcohol. We try to reset our palate, check in with ourselves, make sure we're not leaning too dependently on daily alcohol consumption. April 10th at noon through April 17th at noon. It's an honor system commitment of like just once a quarter, take a break from alcohol. It's a good idea. I'm really glad you're here. If you would like to widen your world, ever so slightly, or maybe narrow it, if you're watching this channel, like and subscribe. Let's curate that algorithm.